This IR bill, which is so long and impenetrable, I'm not sure how far you've got through it, but we find today that part of it is that bosses are going to be stopped from contacting their employees under a raft of changes that are going to be debated next week. What's your feeling on this?
What a joke. How ridiculous is that? Okay, well, you have set wages for our parliamentarians, so let's start there. Now, Anthony Albanese's top advisor gets $284,000. Mind you, I get $217,000, but they're worth $284,000. On top of that, they get another $36,000 on top on that, which it's in lieu of overtime. So therefore, they get that if they're called at any certain time. So they're getting paid for it anyway. It is absolutely ridiculous. When you want to run a business or you have something to do, especially in parliamentary offices, you have some, something that crops up, you've got some disaster. So therefore, if it's got a disaster, and does that mean that Albanese's parliamentary staff can't ring them at certain hours to actually deal with it? What do we do with people who are in emergency services? We don't contact them. You should unreasonable hours. I think it's ridiculous, Steve. I'm fed up with the unions in this country. I'm fed up with the Labor Party and what they're pushing in this nation, especially when we're at a time when a lot of businesses and people are doing it tough out there. And to bring this in, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I won't be supporting it.
Unlike most politicians, you've run a small business. I mean, how would you go running the food business that you used to run, where you're told, oh, well, you can't have casuals anymore, everyone's got to be a full-time employee? I mean, a food business employs more people during peak times at weekends than they do during the week. How's that going to work?
Well, it was because of myself. When the coalition were in, I pushed for you become a full-time employee, or you can apply to your employer for full-time employment after 12 months employment with them. And that was leaving out small businesses that employed less than 15 people because they don't want to be bothered with this. So it was One Nation who introduced those laws, that part of the legislation, that you could convert. But most people don't want to convert over to full-time employment. They're quite happy with casual. This is another push by the unions and by the Labor, and it's to destroy the businesses, because a lot of businesses, especially the Hoteliers Association, also hospitality industry, they want to employ people when they need those people, and then to put them on in full-time employment. It doesn't suit a lot of the people. They don't want to be on full-time employment. They enjoy being as a casual, paid the rates as a casual, and it should be left as it is.
And to be clear, you're not going to support the legislation?
Not on these points whatsoever. We actually support about the Uber industry, and Uber Bites and that type of thing, so that they actually get that cover, that work cover, insurance, travelling to and from work. So there are bits of it, Steve, that we've actually passed, but to see the full legislation. The problem is that Labor does not contact me to do with any legislation. They don't come knock on my door. I mean absolutely nothing to them. And tell you the truth, they don't want my vote. They don't want my vote. They made it quite clear.
That's where we've ended up. Senator Pauline Hanson, it's a pleasure always. Thank you very much for joining us.